Good morning from Los Angeles and happy Tuesday. It's Alissa, Coram, and Shreve here with your market update. On today's show, we're going to be analyzing Google parent Alphabet's chart after its quarterly report out last night. Also taking a look at TransDigm after its quarterly report. Etsy and Spirit Airlines as well, looking strong. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. We are up across the board. The NASDAQ leading the gains once again, up about 0.7%, while we have the Dow up about 0.5% and the S&P 500 up 0.3%. So NASDAQ leading gains again today. I mean, can we just keep continuing at this rate of, this rate that we're seeing?
I mean, people that started putting money to work in the stock market around January 4th, when we saw that follow-through day for the S&P 500, certainly have been rewarded. You know, we've talked about a couple of signs of strength that we saw in the NASDAQ in November that really didn't amount to much, but the bottom line is you always want to pay attention to a follow-through day when one occurs, and since January 4th, it's been an incredible rally for the stock market. You can see that the NASDAQ approaching that 7,500 level. We'll see if it meets some resistance there. You know, the Dow recently just plowed through 25,000 without really any problem at all. So indexes have strengthened from what looked to be kind of a middling soft open, but we certainly have a lot more earnings reports to talk about.
Yeah, that we do. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that 200-day line in the 7,500 level for the NASDAQ.
Yeah, it could be resistance, but the Dow didn't have much 100-day moving average. And, you know, we clearly are seeing signs of institutional buying in this market, so it may not be a problem for the NASDAQ. You know, so clearly the market tide is flowing nicely positive right now.
That it is. And let's check in with Google parent Alphabet, moving lower after its quarterly report out after the close Monday, but not as much as it was moving lower in after hours action late Monday. It's down about 0.7%. Volume is heavy. It is still holding above its 200-day lines, and we did have an earnings beat here, but perhaps it was on the cost side that Google may not have impressed investors.
Yeah, I mean, lower operating margin, some rising costs that spooked investors. I mean, it was down pretty hard in after-hours trading. It held losses in pre-market trading, but the stock has moved off lows. There's a lot of healthy charts in the market right now. I wouldn't say that Google is or Alphabet is one of them. It has moved above its 200-day moving average. That's a positive. But you see the stock is still far off its highs. Still going to have a lot of overhead supply to work through if it's going to continue higher. It was a pretty decent earnings report. Again, higher costs that spook the market, but you know, Alphabet certainly in the news in the early going.
That it is, and we have TransDigm Group extending its gains today after a quarterly report. This comes after a breakout last week and a pre-announcement of sales, and we have a beat on the top and bottom lines for TransDigm. Earnings coming in at $3.85 a share, 31% growth. 21% growth was what analysts were expecting. So a gap up in shares today, up almost 4% in heavy volume, again after a breakout last week.
Yeah, this stock was added to leaderboard when it made a powerful move last week. So again, sometimes buying strength is not such a bad idea. It was maybe a little bit counterintuitive buying last week when the company raised its or announced preliminary fourth quarter sales. So the company came out with earnings today. It's been just a powerful move for the stock, a great breakout last week, and it actually gapped up today. It's kind of has given back some gains, but still a strong percentage gain for TransDigm. They're a key supplier to Boeing and Lockheed aerospace components, but really nice numbers and technically a very strong stock.
And also technically strong today is Etsy. Those shares up over 10% in heavy volume. That relative strength line hitting a new high, and this is a name that might be featured on IBD more often.
Well, it's been in our paper quite a bit, and ever since it really came public, because it's a very compelling growth story. I mean, this company just churns out big earnings and sales growth every quarter. You look at annual estimates for this company, very, very strong. Online arts and crafts, they do a lot of business, very popular service. And look at this, yet another breakout in the market Tuesday, moves powerfully over a 56, 52 buy point volume, very, very heavy. We've seen so many breakouts in recent weeks. You know, it's certainly making the bulls feeling good about this market uptrend. You want to see a lot of breakouts among top-rated growth stocks, and Etsy is the latest example.
That's right. I think it's pretty positive. There were a few lower volume breakouts that we were talking about recently, so it's nice to see a heavy volume breakout here and that RS line hitting a new high.
Yeah, sometimes volume is really, really heavy in the morning, and with Etsy, I mean, it has already traded its 50-day average volume, and we aren't even, we're about, what, an hour into the session. So there are big buyers in Etsy today. Earnings at the end of the month, February 25th after the close, so a little time to see how this one will work, but obviously expectations high for another strong quarter.
Yes, and we will get earnings from Spirit Airlines out after the close. It is trading in buy range headed into that report. Not too much movement in shares today, but it is trading above a cup with handle buy point after a pretty nice run in 2018. Yeah,
Airline Group has been moving higher in our 197 industry group rankings. It was up around 40th, give or take, out of 200. So it's definitely the group itself is showing strong price performance. Spirit is by far the healthiest chart in the group. This is just a very just a classical looking cup with handle base with a 62.07 buy point. We'll see what the numbers look like after the close. The stock has reversed a little bit lower today, but pretty compelling fundamental story at Spirit Airlines. Just looking at the MarketSmith numbers here, full year earnings this year up 33%, and then accelerating in 2019 up 48%. So pretty compelling growth story at Spirit.
Yeah, that's right. It's always good when you can see a pickup in acceleration in earnings, the strengthening of fundamentals.
Yeah, I mean, an airline showing 33% growth, 48% growth. Clearly there's some good things going on at Spirit.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, we'll have to see the exact numbers after the close, and we'll be getting those numbers for you on investors.com, so make sure you are checking throughout the trading day and after the close for all the latest stock news and analysis. And you can also check out our content across social media on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And coming up at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing our check at the close, our Stock Market Today show that we're testing, so make sure you're tuning in for our end of day analysis. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you at the close.